All right, hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing more Werewolf the Apocalypse tonight. We're continuing our chronicle. We left off with the pack off in the desert, tracking some weird creature that was leaving some strange things behind, both in the physical and in the Umbra, apparently. So we'll dig into that pretty quickly. But before we do, why don't we just go ahead and see who is playing? If you all want to introduce yourselves and something about your character. If you've spent XP recently, if you've purchased something new that we haven't covered, let us know what that is. So we'll start with Jeremy. Jeremy, tell us about Eustace.
Yeah, I'll be playing Eustace Hart, Philodox Hart Warden. Recently bought up his wisdom to balance out with glory. Just a pretty well-balanced, easygoing guy. With decent combat. He tries to keep up with Jacques. It's close, pretty good. Not quite.
You're pretty good. You're pretty good.
Yeah, it does fine.
And not being as good as in Ahroun. What the hell? It's really that's not that's like saying, oh geez, I'm not as good of a basketball player as LeBron James or something like that. I'm just there's the extreme, and then you're one half a tick down underneath. The other thing we should say, I forgot to mention, with XP, one of the things we do, we haven't really been doing it on stream, is that there's a series of questions that they basically have to answer at the end of every session. So stuff that if they've learned anything, if they did anything cool, or if they use any of their abilities and skills checks and stuff like that, kind of clever or a crucial way, and that's how they accrue XP. And then they can purchase things. So whether it's new gifts, or whether it's new rights, or increasing, like Jeremy was talking about, increasing renown and other stuff like that. So that's where that's coming from. All right. Next up, Melissa, tell us about Selena.
So Selena Bendis is a theurge of the Children of Gaia. She is currently, I am currently saving up some XP for her, so I haven't spent that in a little bit. We're just kind of looking over some of those things again before stream. I had kind of forgotten a little bit that my patron is the unicorn, and the ban is that I cannot lie for personal gain. Otherwise, I can only regain 1 WP the next session.
Okay. Have you lied for personal gain?
I have not been keeping track of that even remotely, so I'm not.
I think you've lied, but I don't think it was for personal gain, because you lied out in front of the diner saying that Jacques was your pet or something like that. But you didn't. But that was for investigative purposes.
Yeah,
so I think you're good there. Yeah. So I think you're in the clear. And you're saving up for something. You know what you're going to get.
I am looking to get another level of renown and glory, because I started off with 2, but not in glory, and I've got a couple of gifts that need the glory, so that's what I'm saving up for. I'm nice. 6 away, so it's going to be another session or 2, unless I do some cool things to get more XP.
And there's 3 types of renown. There's glory, wisdom, and honor. And those, the levels of those kind of dictate some of the gift purchases that you have to have a certain level of that to be able to acquire them. And then sometimes they're actually factored into dice pool rules and stuff like that too. So, and they are fairly expensive. It's interesting though that you're saving that as you are out in the middle of a weird desert. It's a bold strategy. Saving onto the XP. Next up, we got old Duke Dustfang. Evan, tell us about Duke.
Duke is a Galliard from the Silver Fangs. He's just an old guy trying to guide his pack into saving their cairn and all the demonic, weird shadow things that everyone keeps eating except him. They'll probably come back to haunt us at some point, but it's good. It's good now. And with my XP, I got Song of Valor, which is kind of similar to a Song of Rage, where he can buff the whole pack, where they can re-roll as many dice as they want when they spend willpower.
Which is crazy, because normally normally it's you get 1 willpower, 3 dice you can re-roll. But now, as we heard, there was, I think one time Jacques rolled 13 dice in a pool or something like that at one point when he was attacking. Yeah. So you can get a lot of dice to reroll and save a lot of willpower in doing so. So that's very nice. Very nice. Next up, we have Lou. I'm not going to pronounce the last name because
no, please. No, go ahead.
Lou Riel.
Oh, the pain. Riel.
Sorry.
Thank you for your Riel.
That's what you said, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I.
close.
Did I
Yeah.
stutter?
Real.
It sounded pretty accurate. But, all right.
She is a Ragabash glasswalker. If we're touching on bands, then she doesn't like touching or sort of not touching. She doesn't like harming or dealing damage to kindred spirits, and she's against the breaking or Jacques peeing on the technology. Please don't pee. I need that computer. And she is their detective, their sort of computer expert, anything that doesn't have to do with fighting in nature and traditionalism.
Awesome. And once Jeremy gets that one gift, he'll be able to smell that urine and be like, "Oh yeah, that's definitely Jacques. Jacques definitely
Jacques did that for sure. He did that.
I can't wait for that.
I'm also saving my XP.
Very nice. Okay. I know who my targets are. This is great. And finally, and it's funny too, because the two of you are probably good targets from a statistical perspective. And also you've been hoarding your XP. So don't attack Eustace or Jacques, because they're just going to hurt me more than I can hurt them. And they spent their XP. Speaking of Jacques, Aaron, tell us about Jacques.
Well, y'all might reckon that Jacques Roulette was born a wolf in a pack, called out by a kin singer, born under the warrior moon of the Ahroun into the red talons, patron the griffin, great warrior beast, tells Jacques, y'all don't mess with no technology here unless you're destroying it. If you touch that to use it or fix it, by God, I will not forgive you. So Jacques, he will just piss on a computer, and that's just the way it's gonna be. Now, Jacques, he spent some experience points on wisdom, too, to get his renown up to 5, and he's be saving the rest for a little while, so might be a good time to come after him. Don't know, it's up to you. That's Jacques Roulette.
I mean, I feel like I'll take all the other ones out first, and then I'll save Jacques for last. I think that's probably the strategy.
That's a fair game. Jacques may just run on back into the city and hang out with his vampire friends. Shh, that's a secret now. Don't tell nobody.
Oh, I'm sure that's not going to be a trouble at some point.
Never.
All right. But not tonight, at least, or not right now. But we'll see how it goes. Let's pick up where we left off. So last time around, the pack came back together. Duke came back into town. Eustace shook free of his law enforcement entanglements. Duke had been gathering maps and some other documents and stuff from place up north. Stumbled across like this aging werewolf. Eustace, you figured out that the missing drifter was dead and is now a ghost on Heart and Soul. You got a name, got some family stuff that maybe you can help him with, but you now have a new ghost patron inside of your bar. But
Yay.
I'm sure it won't go bad. But there were some more pressing concerns as Lou and Jacques and Selena had discovered that there is a supernatural threat of some kind that seems to be at the center of this tragedy, this horrific tragedy at a place called the Black Canyon Diner, north of Phoenix. You all, after a little bit of strategy, decided to start searching the territory around the diner. You found another site of violence, another one of these places, much like the diner, where it looks like whatever this creature had passed by here prior to the diner. Just no one had discovered it because it was like a shack out in the desert. You also found an unearthed grave that seemed to possibly be the origin point for this thing that's kind of sweeping across eastward. You all discovered that the physical world was being affected and looked like the Umbra as well here and there as the creature was kind of traveling eastward. You found a bunch of flora and fauna that had been affected in some ways, and a pair of these deranged horses that were actually devouring other creatures. They had something was up with their eyes, and when they died, something burst from their chests and their bodies and kind of lashed out at you. You also came across a spirit-possessed coyote who led you deeper into the desert, specifically to a spring. This little desert spring oasis that had become tainted, much like your sept was beneath Gaia's Grove. And as you were, I think it was Lou who actually reached in, pulled out whatever was inside of that spring at the bottom, and it was a human body, jeans, t-shirt, etc., from which, however, there were these dark tendrils that had sprouted up from their torso, not unlike a sea anemone. And that is exactly where we left off. And so we will pick up right there as you all are staring down at this thing, whatever it might be. And I'll say this, that the coyote is also still nearby. So there's no issues there. But as you're sitting there and kind of watching this thing, you can already tell that those tendrils are kind of starting to break down, and like they're like almost kind of breaking apart, like tiny little bits of filament as they begin to dissolve, now exposed to the air. What do you all want to do?
Jacques takes a look at the body and smells it. He's still in hippo form. He's trying to identify if this body might have been one of the people who had been at the diner.
What would your wits and survival pool be? What would that be?
Wits and survival in well, I guess the +2 bonus for Hispo wouldn't really affect that. So half of it would be 2.
Okay. It's certainly, there's an odor to it, I would say, that certainly smells familiar. The scent back at the diner, it was a tangled mess of a bunch of carnage in different sense as well. But it's not unfamiliar. There's certainly something familiar to it. So it's a decent guess.
He uses his barks and growls to speak to the rest of the pack and let him know that he thinks that it's possible that this body had been at the diner.
Lou would like to kneel down because the body is just at her feet, and
Sure.
she'll pull out a blue hat that has just investigator on top of it, and some rubber gloves, and she'll actually would like to roll investigation or forensic science for seeing if we can figure out how this body died.
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah. So you can roll. So you said you wanted to roll science for this? That's fine. You could do that.
I'll take investigation
Investigation's fine.
first, but yeah. And that would be, you want me to use intelligence for investigation, right?
So yeah, the way my way of thinking, and I could be wrong on this, is intelligence is more like found knowledge, like knowledge you've had, and wits is more like decision making, application of that knowledge in the moment. That's kind of how I distinguish the two.
Okay, so wits.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But I mean, honestly, I think either can work in this situation because it's really just like you can say you're.
Yeah, but there's more dice in wit, so I'm happy to take that one.
Fair enough. Okay.
Ooh, I got a 10. So that is 5 successes.
Okay, so you are able very clearly to see that there are some serious wounds that as eventually the enemy within moments just kind of falls apart. But you see that underneath it, there is a huge gash, like this gaping wound across the stomach from which you think this thing had sprouted. And inside of it, there are still, normal human organs. They've been kind of blackened, but they're still there. So it could be that more than likely, or it could be the fact that wrapped around the neck, there is, you can tell that they were strangled in some way. And then you also notice that there are 2 pretty horrific wounds on the side of its head. Almost as if almost the ears of them has been ripped off, as if something kind of sort of just punctured either side. So any of those 3 wounds would have killed them easily. You're muted, Kipser.
You're muted.
Can I tell what was still bleeding before? No, probably not, because it's covered in water gunk.
With 5 successes, honestly, I would say you would probably know that the order, the stomach wound, that sort of torso wound is probably the last of the 3. It looks like the other 2 probably came first.
So I'll point this out to the group and go, yes, so it looks like here, this one was first, and then the of the head, and then followed by this one in the torso was the last, maybe a killing blow, but it all would have not been very long anyway.
Jacques puts his paw on Lou's arm and kind of growls low in his throat, and he's trying to convey, what does the umbra look like here now that body's been pulled out of the pond?
Oh, let me take a look. And I did activate the number sense at the beginning of the sort of scene last time, or would you like me to re-roll?
No, we can say it rolls over. That's fine. So you again see that the coyote spirit is present. And again, remember that the spirit itself is like a much larger version of the same kind of coyote. It's just much bigger. And then you can also tell that, not unlike, it's got a lot of similarities to what you saw when you all went inside the Umbra to try to protect your grove, and that there is some kind of encasement around this small little spring that is in the process of sort of crumbling in some ways. You can also see far above those same kind of stitching spiders occasionally kind of sort of scrambling past, skittering past in ways that look kind of out of what you would normally like. That they look abnormal, like the patterns that they're moving look kind of different. But there's no additional sort of specific spirits beyond that.
Do we know how long, after having looked at the grave, do we know how long after we rescued our own grove, whatever was in that grave burst free?
I would say, who was there? I think it was Eustace and Lou that were there. It definitely looked as though whatever was in that grave had probably emerged within, I don't know, 4 or 5 days of when you came to the diner. So relative to your grove, it was probably about 4 or 5 days after, something like that.
I think you mentioned that those kind of tendril things were sort of receding a bit. I wanted to make sure that, like, before they all kind of went away, that I could grab one.
You can. It's very much, they're very much just sort of like disintegrating almost. You can see they're just sort of breaking off into these tiny little filaments, like almost like if you were like pencil shavings almost, as it kind of crumbles apart. But you can scoop some up and put it into like a bag or a container if you have anything. That's perfect.
Here, I've got some test tubes.
Oh, yes.
You carry test tubes with you.
As me not having the gloves is just sort of like grabbing at these things and dumping it in the test tubes.
I don't stop you.
Bandolier just pulls out a test tube.
I've got the sash. It's all full of test tubes.
Mm-hmm.
Is the water like our water in our cairn? Like, is it corrupt and dark? And
It was when you first arrived.
Okay, and then when we pulled the body out, it got better, it seemed?
It does, yeah. It does seem to, like, the boiling has stopped. It does seem like it's starting to heal. I would say it probably wasn't as far gone as your grove was when you encountered it, but it definitely was having this similar effect.
Jacques could go over to the coyote, approach it, and just see if he can communicate. I mean, he's still in his hippo form, but, coyote's coyote. So see if we can get a sense of if there's a wider problem that this coyote's trying to show us, or if it was just bringing us here specifically to cleanse this lake.
So I would say, I mean, you all are relatively attuned. Most of you are, actually Jacques is pretty young, but most of you are seasoned. You would know, I mean, Garu's understanding of like spiritual hierarchy is limited. But you would know that at the very least, there are certain spirits that are very specific, that they have a very narrow scope. And when you come over to that spirit, you can sense a great deal of gratitude, probably nothing more complex than that coming from it. This is not the type of spirit that probably is going to have anything more than that. It does seem like they were trying to task you with that. Mm-hmm. But if you do try to sort of push for additional concern, you can see that their head will turn, and they'll just point off in the direction of the east. Like, they won't run after it the way they did to try to lure you all here. But you can definitely tell that they're aware of at least something nearby. But in terms of its concerns seems to be taken care of.
And Jacques turns, he's like, I do think that the plague that this thing, whatever we're chasing, is dropping it in its path like a dog drops crap. We're going to have to keep pushing further east if we're going to get to the head of this thing.
Yes, I think so too. The spirits are looking that way. Lou is also just going to do a quick pack down of the pockets and see if they can find a wallet with ID in it or anything.
You do find a wallet. You soaking wet, some cash,
Here you are,
credit
Selena.
cards. Name is someone by the name of Sam Fowler. Doesn't ring a bell. Doesn't look familiar. Doesn't seem like anyone you know, but that's what the ID says and the various credit cards and such inside.
Do we see any trails or tracks around it? Like if, someone were to do this and throw the body in here, do we see where they could have exited? Obviously we're getting east, but.
Yeah, sure. So what's your survival wits pool? Like what would your pool be? What would half of that be, I should say? Great. Okay.
Survival. 1. It's 3, so the half is 1.
I would say that you can see that in addition to your own markings around here, there definitely appears to be some boot prints. There's that. If anybody else wants to assist, you certainly can.
Okay.
Like if anybody else wanted to do that.
Sure.
My half pool would be 2, like it was before,
Sure.
but I can roll it if you want.
Selena, what's yours?
Half rounded down would be 1. So
okay, just go ahead and roll it, Jacques, and you could take an extra die from Selena, giving you a hand. The two of you putting your heads together, kind of as Duke points out the boot prints and everything.
I did get 2 10s, so that's 4 successes and a 6, so 5 successes.
So one of the things you notice more, right as Duke points out the boot prints is that they look exactly like the boot prints that this guy's wearing. Like they're the exact same. Like you can see the pattern, the size. It's got tracks coming up. It's a rocky terrain. Like you guys are kind of in this sunken depression area, but there is some sand and dirt that you can easily see boot prints in. Eventually it becomes a little bit more rocky. But from what you can tell, walked up and did it himself.
These things are walking plagues, same as those horses. Whatever infected them has sent them on a course to defile our Green Mother. We got to get to the bottom of this.
Can Duke roll occults to think about in the concept of possession?
You probably have high enough to be able to. Yeah, it's definitely some kind of temporary possession. It's considering that you would be able to with what you know from Jacques and the smell, as this person was likely at the diner. You would guess it was sort of temporary. It was recent, so it wasn't like a long-term bane that's just sort of infected the same person for a long period of time. So it's definitely like a temporary possession.
And this, didn't I do a check last time with the black goop, and this was the stuff that they ate?
Yes, you would know that.
Okay, nice.
So can we track the boot prints back then? Because if this is one of the people at the diner that disappeared, can we see where he was walking from?
Yeah, I would say between you and Jacques, you were able to kind of get a vector. It's not the direction you think. It doesn't seem to be coming from the diner itself. It seems to be coming more kind of from a northeasternly direction. It doesn't look like it's going directly back. So you would probably surmise that they didn't come here directly from the diner. At least if they did, they took a roundabout route here.
Or whatever took them in that horse trailer, infected them, and then cut them loose to plague the land.
That's pretty.
Maybe throw our scent off of the greater troubles.
It might take us a bit to track everyone. But are we... Lou, are you done with your things you do?
Well, please go on. What things?
The things you do. Figuring stuff out. And
the vile weaver things you do. That's
I
sickened me to my core.
I feel like the wolf is talking very coherently like a humus right now.
I was not meaning to disparage your skills. I was just simply saying the things that you do, we don't want to cut short
No,
for
it's,
the purpose of the investigation.
I like to think
I'm good.
it's the running monologue of Jacques in wolf form that we hear, like from a storytelling perspective, but all we really see in this scene is just him kind of tilting his head this way, tilting his head that way.
You get the little growls, you get the legs starting to hike up, you get the you all know.
It's like the Deadpool speech
We're good
bubbles.
to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
All right, so what's next for you guys? What's the strategy now?
Jacques does shift back into Hamid form. Listen, this problem may be bigger than just one pack. We should be calling back to Andorra, let the rest of the Sept know that they may need to be looking for other sites and what they need to do to cleanse them.
We don't have
I agree,
service.
that's fair.
I will check my phone.
Yeah, when you open up your phone again, Lou, or get your phone out once more to try to get it to see if it's working, yeah, it just lets out this like horrific screech. It sounds half digital, but half like human yelling in pain.
That's some terrible service.
Not so much,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, I mean, the coyote's looking off in that direction. Don't know what else to do much other than just go that direction. But I do agree, we should let the other packs know about this. I somehow doubt we're going to clear everything up just by dealing with this at the moment.
Jacques, on only one way to try to notify the rest of the packs is he'll shift back into lupus form and just start howling a warning, hoping that other wolves will pick it up and relay the concern.
Okay. Yeah, you can absolutely howl. You're not particularly close to your sept, but like it's possible some stray could be there. That's fine.
Jacques howls so loud he carries all the way across the valley.
He's a wolf. It's the best he can think of.
Let's have a picture like Gondor calls for aid.
Yeah.
Instead of fires on the mountaintops,
Roulette.
a series of owls.
Oh, gosh. Gondor.
Unless there's a way that Lou could convince the coyote spirit to go back to our cairn and notify and warn the other packs.
If you guys can follow the coyote, I will meet up with you further along the trail, and I can go in maybe an hour that way and see if there's a signal.
You just don't want to
road.
get into a fight. You're not going anywhere. You're staying with us.
And that's totally
It's-
fine.
it's
That's
that obvious,
understandable.
yeah.
You're helping in your own way. That's okay.
But it's kind of dangerous times. We probably shouldn't split up.
Okay, I will keep an eye on my phone to wait for some signal.
Sure.
I mean, creepy, monstrous things and no cell reception and going off on your own. What's the worst that could happen? But just don't say, I'll be right back. I think that's the trope, right?
Right.
Okay.
And Selena's just going to point to the body that we just pulled out when Eustace asked what's
Okay,
the
yes,
worst
this
that
is
can
fair
happen.
point. Noodle arms, I
Points.
know.
So Jacques
Ready to run?
just starts loping off as a wolf in the direction of.
Okay. So you just kind of go off in the way the coyote points. I should point out, coyote doesn't go with you. The coyote is very firmly entrenched in this position. And there is sort of a radius that it's willing to travel, and it has and it went to the extent of that to find you. And again, this is not uncommon. I think all of you, they are kind of fickle. They do their thing, but you do kind of go off in the direction that it traveled. Jacques is taking the lead on that. Is everyone kind of keeping an eye on their forms? They know what form you're in and everything.
I'm going to go ahead and shift back into Hispo now, so I'm going to do my rage check.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Got a 7.
I'm pretty sure I had to get out of a form to be handling test tubes and whatever else I was doing.
I could have done that.
Eustace, what are you in? What did you say you're in?
Hispo. Usually I'm in
Okay.
Hispo is what I tend to go for if we're doing this sort of thing.
Okay. Fair enough. Sure. So I would say Eustace or Jacques, if you want to roll, if you guys are out in front in your kind of wolf forms, if you're looking for tracks or scents or anything like that, something to kind of direct you more than just that way, you can go ahead and roll something. Yeah. Survival wit, awareness would be okay too. Like you don't survival, I assume, is just tracking. Awareness is more just kind of like all senses looking around.
You know, I was looking down at my dice and I was thinking, that's fantastic. I got 9, 9, 8, 8. And then I looked at my other 2 rage dice and they are a 1 and a 1.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
So that's a brutal, horrible, crappy failure.
Okay. Eustace, how'd you do?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
Okay. So Eustace and Jacques will take the lead in their various wolf forms. The rest of you following. I doubt anyone gets too far away from each other. I would assume, so you can kind of keep within communication. But the two of you run forward for a bit, and again, it's not like every step something strange is happening. There's a little bit of time, half a mile, 2 miles, etc. Like where you're kind of veering around, going up some ridges, down, poking into like a rabbit hole here, a cave there, that kind of thing. And so like this is all you all just sort of poking and prodding. Probably about an hour or so goes by, and that's when I'll say, Eustace, you hear the sounds of actually you probably smell it first, to be honest. You smell the sound of a human. Definitely has that kind of stench to it. Deodorant is probably was the first smell. And nice. You see a shadow, like a silhouette on the horizon. So like there's not a whole lot of light. It's very, very dark, if you all recall, but you can still, with your eyes, you can kind of see this silhouette moving. They're kind of, and you're not sure if they're like lurching a little bit, but they're certainly not moving at a normal pace. And Eustace, as you get kind of close, you see that there is a young man. We'll put him in his 20s or so. Blood kind of coming down from his forehead. You can see that he's holding on to his arm. And you can see that he's kind of limping. And then his eyes go wide as he sees you. What do? You have a beat, Eustace, before something else is about to happen.
All right. Well, if he's still bleeding, he's still walking my...
You're in a big wolf form, so he's just kind of, his eyes go really, really wide. And he just freezes.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I'm still at a little bit of a distance.
At a distance, though, he can see you at the very least enough for him to like react and see like there's a giant wolf staring at him.
Okay. I mean, at this point, he's already seen a giant wolf that's going to kind of freak him out. I probably will. I think his instinct is he's worried that this guy might be hurt. He'll shift into human form.
Okay. I want to let Jeremy know this in case Jeremy doesn't know that if a regular like mundane person witnesses shifting, delirium comes into play. And so it's just like I roll to see how they kind of react to it, or if there's like a specific state of mind that they're in. I might just say it happens that way. So with that in mind, like if
okay, fair enough. Because actually my main thing was to try and keep the person calm. So I know nothing about this system. That's actually the opposite of the effect that I would want to be going for.
That's what I figured, which is why I wanted to let you know.
Okay. I think probably just kind of doing the thing where like you'll see a well-trained animal kind of like get down, kind of like in sort of a calming position. So it's going to be weird because it's still a giant wolf form, but the wolf like kind of just get down, lower knees, and just kind of like lower the head, just kind of like a calming motion, despite what he's seeing.
And so you kind of get down on all fours, kind of calm at this point. You're not looking. You're looking non-threatening. It's still this person looks very confused, shocked, hurt. And then you hear, and you watch as just rushing past you is Jacques in lupus form, who just kind of leaps up and just takes the guy down. And you can just hear going down, and the guy screaming, and it's just normal human pain screams as Jacques just kind of charges past you.
Well, damn it, I was hoping he's still okay.
Me too.
Jacques got a very horrible, brutal result. What can I tell you?
Yep.
Okay. Muzzle's buried in this guy's intestines, looks up with a loop of it in his teeth.
And I'll tell you this, like, as you're kind of just going, Jacques, like, you assume probably it's another one of these things. But as you're tearing through this guy screaming, like, you don't get that stench of infection. It just doesn't seem to waft. Now that your muzzle is like buried in his chest, you don't get that same sort of taint that you've gotten elsewhere. It might be a little too late for the guy, as now, as you said, there's chunks of his intestine and kind of hanging down from your chin, and he just has kind of started to just kind of shiver a bit, and the screaming has quieted. What are the rest of you doing as you now come up on this scene?
Loose eyes, the cigarette lit in the dark light, looks down at the dead body. Jacques. Okay, let me start see if I can find some ID on this one.
Jacques gets up, licks his muzzle, moves off, lays down.
So, Lou, you do find, they seem to be wearing like definitely camper hiker kind of gear. Like they definitely look like somebody who's just outdoors for a bit. But you do find, ID. Alex Kuttner is the name. Doesn't look familiar. Not a name that you all recognize. You assume probably just a hiker. Could have just gotten lost. Could have encountered something out here. You're not really sure. But while you're here, you do notice, in addition to Jacques, the damage Jacques has done to the guy, he does have other wounds. You can definitely tell that he's suffered. Wasn't just a fall. It looks like he might have been attacked by something, but managed to somehow get away.
Something else got him before Jacques, but it's hard to see through all these bite marks, Jacques.
Jacques growls, looks over at Eustace, looks over at Duke, whines a little bit, cocks his head.
Duke gives you the disappointed dad look. Like, you're going to get a talking to later. It's just not the time.
Yeah, that little whine whimper you get, and Jacques gets up and starts walking the perimeter just to keep an eye on things.
Jacques, Eustace, well, you're in your wolf forms. Is there a way for you to track the scent back to where he was maybe attacked?
Probably a good idea.
Maybe we can figure it out from footprints in that area.
It's a really good idea. As you are able to, I would say Eustace and Jacques, you are able, not too far away. It's still in the dark though, but you eventually start hearing the sounds of people screaming and various screeches too. You hear a combination of two things. You hear human screams, like people just screaming out, sometimes for help, sometimes like just various expletives. And then you also hear that same sound that kind of has been coming through your phone periodically, Lou, as that kind of comes from a distance. And then I'll say Jacques and Eustace in your wolf forms, you get a little closer and you realize that there is like this sort of ridgeline, this rocky incline, and then there's like a series of these oblong like orange rocks, and it looks like there's a group of people that are on top of one. And they're like, and those are the ones that are screaming, and they're like kind of throwing random things down to the ground. And you notice that on the ground, Eustace and Jacques, there are about 5 people that are surrounding them, and that are and they're just sort of like swarming around. They're trying to jump up and climb this rock, but it's a fairly smooth side, like edifice. And yeah, that's what you see.
And my guess is those are the ones that we do need to be pouncing.
All right. Then let's get down there. No.
So
Selena
because
is also in form.
yeah, because Jacques doesn't really care if humans freak out and get the delirium because they're just a plague on the Green Mother anyway. He as he charges, he'll shift into Krynos and attack the things at the base. He doesn't care.
Jacques felt bad for about 30 seconds. And it was like,
He didn't really feel bad. He just felt ashamed that he overdid it. But I got a 10 and a 6 on my rage dice, so I'm okay on my shift.
Okay, so if we're gonna move into combat, why don't everyone just tell me what you're doing? You can sneak up enough to the point where like you're kind of close enough that if you wanted to pounce in or leap in, it's probably easy enough to do.
That's exactly what he's gonna do.
Yeah, they don't seem to be too interested in you all. They're very, very interested in what's on top of this this oblong rock. So Jacques, you're going to turn into Krynos, and then you're going to charge. You're going to leap in and make an attack, right?
That is correct.
All right. Then what is? So we'll just go around. Eustace, what are you up to?
I'll stay in my current form and leap in as well. I'm currently in Hispo.
Okay, so you come. So we have Krynos form Jacques, who is, as he's charging up, shifts into Krynos, leaps into the fight. Jacques, Eustace, you're right on his heels as well. Selena, what are you up to?
Selena was in Hispo for the walkover, so I'm gonna say she's gonna hair's leap into the melee for no smart reason.
Okay, no, that sounds great. And then Duke, what are you up to?
Duke will use Song of Valor.
Okay, sounds good.
Ooh.
And then Lou, what are you up to?
Lou is going to yell towards the people that are hiding up on the rocks. My circus performing animals are coming, so don't be too scared. Please come up here when you get the chance.
I love Lou.
Don't ask what they are. It's a circus thing.
I love Lou.
The thing is, I perform, so eventually I want to do like a little.
Oh God,
I want to see this persuasion roll.
Yeah. Oh my.
Don't question it.
Oh God. I think if it was just giant wolves and not a Krynos form werewolf, you might have gotten away with it.
That's why I had to go to the circus.
Okay. So let's start with the Song of Valor. What do you got to roll for that?
Okie dokie.
Oh. Kipser, you moved everybody around on the overlay.
Oh, what happened?
Buddy.
Oh, now this is fun. We all play each other.
All right,
Okay,
who am I?
everyone change your character sheets.
All right, Evan, you're Jacques now. Pull out your
crap,
I'm Lou.
Louisiana
This
accent.
is going to get crazy.
Somebody's got
Let
to
me
make
go
that
kill
circus
something.
roll.
Damn it.
Oh goodness.
All right. Well, while you do that, I will work on rolling. Let's see. I need charisma plus honor.
There we go.
Where's my character sheet? Okay.
I failed my rage check for Hair's Leap, so I'm down to 3
Okay.
rage.
All right.
Did your
so-
song, Duke, was that a rage song?
Yes, I'm going to roll that first. I do rage check first,
Okay.
and then
Go right ahead.
just one. I keep it, and then I roll
Nice.
5 dice.
Looks like
One,
2
two.
successes.
I'm gonna re-roll. Let me see. Yeah, I'll re-roll. You spend a willpower.
I do need to get some.
I need 3. Okay, it
There you go, you got
succeeds. So everybody gets the sweet buff of full re-rolls on any willpower spend.
Fantastic.
So I think
Nice.
we see Duke kind of like stop and look at Lou like, what the hell is she saying? And then kind of focuses in and the eyes kind of squint and you can hear his heart start to like beat in like a rhythmic fashion. And the whole pack starts to hear like this song of like this rhythmic beat and we're like all in unison, like in sync.
Okay. Let's then. So Jacques, are you really trying to make a persuasion on these? You could try. You could try.
Lube.
Jeez.
Jacques is persuading with his claws.
I am
Lou, sorry,
persuading
Lou is
with
trying
my.
Lou, you could try. Go ahead and roll. Jeez. Persuasion manipulation, I suppose.
Hey,
no.
just got free. One willpower gets you.
Very
Yeah, when
high
she
difficulty.
rolls her like
Too,
two
so-
dice. Yeah.
my 3 dice for this roll.
Oh,
Let's see.
sick.
I know, right?
I feel 3 tens coming on.
1 success.
Okay.
Nice.
You so as you come in, you see Duke kind of going through the Song of Valor, right? You got Lou shouting up ahead and then bursting through the shadows. There is like a little like oil lantern or hunter's lantern on top of the on top of that oblong rock that is giving a little bit of an aura of light around this. And there's a momentary like pause in the action as everyone just kind of turns and look briefly at what's going on. But once the Krynos comes through the darkness, you can see that the 3 people that are on top of that rock, which is about 10 feet or so, 12 feet high, their eyes go wide with a very familiar look. This probably isn't the first time that you all have seen the utter fear, as there are 3 people up on top. And I'm just going to see how many of them. Okay. 2 of them panic in absolute terror and leap off of the rock and fall to the ground. You guys hear a sickening crunch as their legs just snap in the process. The third one just starts gibbering madly in fear at the top, as now there's 2 of them on the ground. As that's happening, a few of these creatures kind of start to swarm onto them, these other people around. Now there are 5 total targets, we'll say, that we're trying to kind of climb up that rock, and there are 3 people charging in. So are we targeting separate ones? Are we targeting different ones? I'm going to say 2 of them are peeling off towards the hikers that just jumped off, and 3 are still trying to climb up.
I think my goal would be to be standing over, like as we're leaping in, stand over one of the ones that fell in case they're still alive, keep them from getting corrupted.
All right, you charge in and you try to put yourself between one of these people. Like they're just people. Like that, you can see it's just people attacking people. So Eustace, you try to kind of thrust yourself there. Go ahead, and are you attacking one of them, or are you just trying to like kind of fend? There's
no
attacking?
signs of like the weird shadowy stuff or anything like that, or
when you get up close, you do notice that there is something that's pushing out from their torsos. You see these black tendrils just rip free. Like 2 of them begin to snake out and around from the 2 that are starting to close in on the fallen hikers.
then yeah, I will attack the ones that are closing in on the people that just fell.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and give that a roll.
I'll do a quick rage check for an ability, which goes off. Okay, that's good. So I
The rage check. So I think it's rage check. I can't remember. I think it's when you fail a rage check. It's not you don't fail an ability. You just lose the rage. Like the ability.
Yeah,
that
so you
should
should
still
lose
succeed.
2 rage.
Yeah, you still get to do it. You just lose the check. You lose the
So I did succeed. I was basically doing the sorry, I just lost the count. The raging strike.
Okay.
So that'll get me up to 10 dice.
Okay.
Because
Give
a
it
rage
roll, man.
check is just rolling 1
1
dice.
Yep.
Oh,
right?
you just roll 1? Oh, that's
Yeah.
my bad. I thought you rolled all of them.
Sometimes I think it can be more than 1. But
It can be more, but
tells
generally
you.
it's 1, and if you pass, you don't
Yeah.
lose the
Okay.
rage point.
That's
Some things
my
require
misunderstanding.
2 rage checks. If it's 2 rage checks, you roll 2d10s. That kind of thing.
Like
Yeah.
when you become a Krynos or
Exactly.
regenerate
Okay.
in some circumstances.
That was,
Yeah,
that
so
was my
just-
misunderstanding. I apologize.
Yeah, just so
No worries, man.
1d6.
It's all
So you
good.
might have passed with that.
Okay.
Just re-roll it. Just
I will.
just roll 1d6 or 1d10.
I will.
Excuse me.
I'll do the 1d10. So, okay. it did.
Hey, you passed.
Okay.
Yay.
Awesome.
And now I know. Knowing's half the battle. Okay, so
So-
1, 2, 3, 4.
If you want to re-roll
5,
4 dice, it's up to you. You know?
6. So I've got 6 regular successes. Are 1s successes whenever they're No, that wouldn't be rage dice. So
It's
6 successes.
It's if you have a pair of ones, it becomes a brutal outcome, which in this situation would be very useful to you. In the situation that Jacques had earlier, that was not a good time.
Not so
brutal
good.
Outcome. Yeah.
So which
six
of these are your
successes, that feels
rage
good.
dice?
I think it's fair to just say the first ones. That's the easiest way to go, I think.
Okay, so then you don't have 1s or 2s on your rage dice.
Good deal.
Okay. All right. So if that's the case, all right. So they were rolling at a 3, so you have a differential of 3. So go ahead and so it's 3. So what's your damage for your attack that you're using? I know you said
3 ag. It's the bite.
Okay, 3 ag plus. Okay. All right. So you're in. You said you're in Hispo. Okay.
Yeah.
So Hispo is a +1 aggravated damage bite, +3 for differential. You're going to essentially rip through this guy. So it's 4. Actually, it's not enough to take him out. All right. So you come up as you see these kind of black tendrils begin to pierce out from the sides, like both of its ribs on either side, and kind of snakes outwardly. And you thrust yourself right in between, almost hip check the guy, stumbles a bit, and then you manage to just clamp down on whatever fleshy part. And you see like the head turn to the side almost, and you just smack down right on its hip. No blood, Eustace. Like you feel like no blood coursing into your teeth, into your mouth. You do hear that same sound that you've heard whenever Lewis opened up her phone, emits from the mouth of this person. And as you do, like you can look up, and you can see this little tiny shine start coming down the face as this weird shifting in front of the eyes. You don't see irises, you don't see sclera. It's just like this weird kind of brief glow as the teeth sink in. But they are still standing, and their tendrils are still sort of shifting and sort of circulating down towards the target. Selena, I'm just going by I'm just going to go by like overlay order just to get it going right. Selena, you were leaping in. You said you did your hare's leap. Are you leaping in the similar fashion as Eustace did to try to interrupt?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and kind of focus fire. So I will attack the same one that Eustace did.
Okay. Okay, that sounds great. So go ahead and make your roll. Your difficulty is only going to be a 2, as it's already entangled with Eustace at this point. Freaking cat out.
All right, so that is currently only 2 successes. So I think I'm going to spend a willpower to re-roll 3 of these.
Okay.
You can re-roll all of them if you want.
Yeah.
Well, I've got 2 successes. So
I think our
I
pool is
just
only
have 3
5.
left.
Yeah.
Oops.
Thank you, 20
Okay,
cents
that's-
every story for that raid.
Ooh, welcome in. 4 successes.
4 successes total. All right. So, Selena, as this person, or what once was a person, is kind of locked down by the massive Hispo jaws that Eustace has clamped down on its side, you just come leaping up and over. You almost leap so high with your hare's leap that you kind of clear that oblong 12-foot tall rock, and you just pounce down and you rip the guy free from Eustace's teeth, and you just rip away until, after a moment or two passes, there's a huge canoe where their chest used to be. All of these blackened organs, no blood dripping from them, are all thrown about here and there. You hear this kind of very vague, very light digital sound eventually kind of die out, and then that body is now no more. It's basically just limp. Okay.
Selena growls over at Eustace, kind of in that like, we did good.
Jacques, you are next. Jacques, because you did Krenos, you're going to have it a -2 on this, because shifting into Krenos, I believe, it's a minor. What's it called? Yeah, so you're going to have a -2 on just this one. Your next round will be fine. So what are you doing, Jacques?
So Jacques is going to attack the other one that was coming at the camper who fell. So since I'm at -2 dice, I'm only rolling 12.
Ooh, lolly.
And as he comes closer, you see his claws they lengthen and get harder, and now they look like shards of obsidian as he uses his razor claws for the first time.
Go for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, God, this is good. A 10, a 10, a 7, a 6, 6, and I'm going to spend a willpower to re-roll my other 5 dice.
Go for it. I'm wasting this lolly. This is so sad. I'm going to get a crit off this, so the difficulty is going to be 5, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Aw.
2 more 10s, and a 6 and a 7, so 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Just
My
describe
claws
how
do
you-
plus 3, and with my razor claws, it's plus 4 additional damage.
So after you do 47 damage to this creature, what does it look like, Jacques? You can describe it. How
So,
do you
Jacques-
just destroy him?
He leaps in and he grabs the top of its head in his mouth so he can steady the body as he just dives both of his claws into this torso, and then you see his back muscle shift as he rotates his palms, and then he just tears the body in half, throws the torso in one direction and the legs in the other.
Okay. As there is now body parts and organs thrown around, there are these 2 hikers who are staring up at the horror, and they are screeching and screaming. You can see compound fractures in their legs as bones are sticking out. They'll survive it, presuming that they get some sort of medical treatment. You don't see the same kind of trouble that you see on these other beings. They also are dressed like hikers, whereas the 2 that you just attacked, we're talking like jeans, shorts, flip-flops, really generic kind of clothing, everyday wear. The other 3,
Jacques looks down and he's got slobber coming out of his mouth, and he goes, "You're welcome."
In Credo form?
Credos.
Yeah, you can garble English in Krenos form.
no.
So yeah, you're welcome.
It's just a circus. It is just a circus. Don't worry about it.
People die of fright. The other 3, seeing that there is now a new danger, will turn. Their mouths will sort of stretch. You can almost hear the cracking of their jaws as their mouths grow, like a what's it called? The munch pain, the scream. Like it just, as they open up, you see the eyes begin to have that kind of fluttering that you saw a moment ago, Eustace, and again, all 3 of them with this horrific screech that you've heard before, will attempt to subdue you all. So I need the 3 of you that just came in. Each of you go ahead and roll a, what is it? Stamina plus resolve.
That includes Selena?
Yeah, all 3 of you that just came in. Duke and Lou, you're fine. Ooh.
And since the stamina is a physical
10,
roll, do we
8,
get the
8.
bonus from the form?
Yeah, do we?
That's a great question. I don't
Physical.
It says non-stealth physical, so however you want to roll, figure
It's
that
like a
out.
hybrid roll because resolve is mental.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That is true. It's
this-
not a full
Yep.
physical roll.
This is
That's a good point.
more. Yeah, this is more like the feedback
Yeah.
disorientation.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Then I will spend a second point of willpower to re-roll 3 dice.
I rolled 2 lollies. I won't say on who yet. I want to say.
I got a
I
10, a 10, an
also
8, an
did.
8, and a 5. So 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, a 10, a 10, an 8, a 10, and a 5. Got it. Okay. What about you, Selena? How'd you do?
I got a 10, a 10, a 9, and an 8. So
Okay.
5, 7,
Can we just,
6.
I wanna roll
can we just get
tens.
like total successes? Could I just have total successes? Like, what's the total number of successes?
I'm still wrapping my head back into what crits are. So 2 10s is
Yes,
5.
4.
Or
It's 4
4.
successes because each
Okay, so
combo.
6 successes. 6 successes.
All right, Selena and Jacques, both of you managed to shake off whatever effect is actually happening here. However, Eustace, you find yourself a bit disoriented. You're hearing goes. You just can't. Suddenly, it's just like a sound of a modem piercing in your ears. Everything just kind of goes like this snowy white, like a TV screen. You can't even smell anything. It's like you just seem shut off from your senses as this screech, whatever this has done, has basically stunned you. Is essentially what it amounts to. You have an opportunity on the next round to essentially break from it again. All right. Speaking of that next round, we are there now. There are still 3 of these figures, all of which have just screeched, but now they seem to be closing in on their various targets. What is it that everyone would be doing? Eustace, you would be having, if you want to break free from this, you would have to, like, you would be rolling that stamina resolve again.
Should have drank my beer before the fight. Would have actually helped.
Always. I think that's always a good idea. What are Selena and Jacques? You are both already in kind of melee area. What are you two doing?
So are there other targets that seem to be affected?
No. It's just those 3. Because there were a total of 5. You've killed 2. There's 3 more. They screeched at each of you. Each one of them basically can single target somebody with that screech, and they hit each one of them. Hit one of you. So it's up to you, Selena. And they're really close. So like, there's no reason you can't just stomp over and chomp them if that's what you prefer.
Yes, that is what Selena would prefer.
Okay, so
Jacques would go full Tasmanian devil.
Okay, are you all going towards the same one? Or are you going towards different ones? What's your preference?
Well, it's up
Jacques usually takes his own, so Selena will go for a different one.
Okay, fair enough. Duke and Lou, at a distance, you've seen all this transpire in front of you. You're a little bit further away, but you're still nonetheless close enough. If you wanted to move up and do something, that's something you can that could do. What do you want to do?
Lou would like to start running down the cliff, just going melt, 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 all the way down. And she's wanting, if the GM allows it, to apply something that doesn't quite fit, but might still be funny. So Rite of the Forgotten Records is where I would summon minor wild spirits to affect technology, information, etc. But part of it is the investigators are unable to get the faces of the characters in their head. Can I do that as the Rite of the Forgotten trauma for these poor hikers?
You're trying to. So what is it? What is
just trying to make them forget us a little bit.
So I would tell you this is that in terms of the delirium, they will. Like that's like basically how it works. Like essentially they just eventually they will have this kind of block and like they might be haunted by it. It might be traumatic. So you will have that effect. I'm more than happy to say it happens because it sounds hilarious, but that effect is probably already going to transpire. They might be suffering something
like a terrible nightmare that, they don't quite remember very well anymore for reasons.
Sure. Roll your test.
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
So you will say that the tail end of your previous like spirit vision that you had on before, we'll say it's kind of closing down at the end of the scene. We see these
ignores the circus animals.
Yeah, you're trying to get them, but like these little skittering like weaver spiders start manifesting up out of the ground. Now they look infected, just like all the other spiders that you've seen so far, and they start just climbing over the faces of these poor hikers. Just crawling.
They're all trained animals.
Just kind of stitching these strange little sort of webs over top of their eyes here and there. Now these people can't see the spiders, but they can get the effect as they're suddenly going blind. But the rest of you. Well, actually, I said probably only Lou would see the spiders actually happening, but they kind of just go blind from it. That's effectively what happens. Duke, what do you want to do, man?
Okay, so there's the 2. Is this? Well, I don't know what's happening with the spider thing. There's the 2 people who broke their legs, and
they're on the ground.
There's like 3 people still up top.
There's one person up top that's whimpering, gibbering in fear. So there's a couple different reactions that you get for delirium. One is like freeze and terror, and the other is like flee. 2 of them rolled flee, 1 of them rolled freeze, basically. So like that one's still up top. They're not in danger. They're probably fine, fine as can be considering the situation. Then there's Selena has engaged one of the one of these monstery people. Jacques is engaged one of these monstery people. Eustace seems disoriented, and you can tell that the third one of those monstery people is kind of closing in on Eustace as Eustace is in this sort of strange state. So that's something you would see.
Okay. Well, since he doesn't know what Lou's doing, so Duke would be kind of moving at the same time. I'm just saying, like mechanically,
Saying,
I don't like. He doesn't know. Yeah, it's and it's talking about circus animals. He's completely confused. He will go towards the injured people that broke their legs, and he's gonna like kind of mimic that he's first aiding and trying to, maybe kind of wrap it or bind it, and then he's gonna lift up his head and use stare down.
Okay.
And he's just gonna say, like, look away, like just to get them to like submit and kind of just not get worse than it is, I guess you could say.
And you could probably get them to quiet down too, as they are screeching and screaming in fear. So that could work too. Yeah, go ahead and give your stare down a roll.
And it's versus composure and resolve if you.
Yeah, I'll give it a quick look. It's just a 2 difficulty.
Okay. I got to roll rage check. I lose a rage. It's okay. Crit, so 6 successes.
I'm going to say, if you're okay with this, I'm going to say with your crit, with this weird sort of semi-blindness happening, with the sound of your voice just kind of echoing in their ears, maybe the last thing they see before their eyes get stitched up is your face, your visage. I'm going to say they just kind of get knocked out. They just kind of just like their panic just sets in, and they just, the pain, whatever it might be, some combination of it all, and they just kind of collapse. And so they're no longer really an active problem, other than the fact they have bones sticking out of them. But other than that, they're not screeching, screaming, anything like that. Okay,
sounds good.
All right, let's go. Selena, you're going after one of them. Go ahead and roll.
Okay.
Difficulty 3, because it did not roll well. Ugh.
2. Okay.
So I'm not sure how much you guys know the rules, but basically these are contests, so the differential matters. And so for them, like I'm rolling, what I'm doing is I roll 1d10. That's the variation that I do. And if I roll a 10, it's basically a crit for me. And so I increase the difficulty by 2. If I don't, I leave the difficulty as is. So that's why there is, like, during some of your stuff, there was a difficulty of 5 versus a difficulty of 3, that kind of thing, in case you're wondering. How'd you do, Selena?
So I got 2 regular successes and a brutal success because I rolled 2 1s on 2 of my 3 rage die.
Fantastic. Well, a brutal success is actually really, really useful in this particular case, as it does actually, since your aim is to damage or injure, it gives you a +4. So what's the total? With that in mind, what's your total?
So that's so I had 2, and so I'm trying to figure out if the total. 2 combine into 1. So the 2 1s combine into 1 success for the rage.
Yeah, you only get a brutal outcome if you have 2 1s.
Yeah, which I do. So it's 2 successes and then the brutal outcome, so 3 plus.
It's not like a reverse crit where you get like multiple outcomes. It either is a brutal outcome or it isn't. It's not like, times 5, times 10 or whatever. Okay, so that's 6. So you're not able to necessarily take it out in one shot. However, you do damage it significantly as it's trying, you can see, to compel you with whatever its screeching ability is. And you're able very quickly to just knock that shit right off as you leap towards it, push it down to the ground, and begin kind of crushing with your front legs, just kind of pushing down. You hear this sickening crunch as the chest begins to kind of cave in on itself. Jacques, what about you?
All right. So Jacques back up to his normal 14 dice and probably no storm. Oh, this is not a good roll. 2. 1.
Okay. I didn't do well either.
Now brutal is on a 1 or a 2, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so I did get a brutal success. Everything else failed.
Only on a rage. We should clarify. It's
those are rage dice. Yeah, on the rage dice. Yep.
Yeah.
Is that song still effective? Okay, then I will spend my 3rd point of wisdom and
the whole
again.
scene.
because I
Such a good
literally,
ability. It's so good.
that is such a good
I only can use it once, but you
Terrible.
plan only play for
That's
2
all
hours,
you
so-
need. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
10
Yeah.
better. And a 10. I got 3 10s on my reroll. The rest are still crap though. So that's 4, 5, 8, 9 with the +4 on the claws, 13.
Okay, that will be enough to kill it. So similar to how we saw before, like a rag doll, you just kind of lift it up, rip it apart, start to bite into it, chomping down here and there as all of this sort of infected, tainted organs begin to just pile on out.
Kinda
and
shakes them
flop
out.
down to the ground. Yeah. And because you killed again, you don't have to worry about spending willpower to maintain Krenos. And so we go to Eustace. Eustace, one of them is charging in at you. So go ahead and roll. So you're going to have to roll stamina resolve. If you pass, you can essentially you'll be able to defend. If you don't
Okay.
pass it, then he'll get basically a free shot on you.
Good deal. Well, let's see. What we
Actually, no, we just do contested. What am I talking about? Yeah, we'll just make this a
So,
contested. It's your
You
stamina
need
resolve versus
there's 6
yeah.
is that's right.
6
And then
up.
double 10s are so a 7 and 2 10s. How do
Okay,
those
so
two-
5
So that's
successes.
Right. So you get one. So just walk you through it for 2 10s. If that's what you roll, you get 1 success per 10 because it's a success. But then because it's a crit, you get basically extra. So so you end up getting. You get how many total successes do you
a
have?
7 and 2 10s.
Okay. So
5.
5. I see. Okay. So basically the double 10s adds another 2.
so
Mhm.
you are able to, as this thing leaps up and is about to once your senses come back, it seems like it's taking these 2 tentacles and it's going to try to impale you with them, but like kind of up towards your face, your head, whatever it might be. But you're able to shake free and just sort of dodge out of the way and avoid actually taking any damage from this. As I'm just going to treat that as a contest as you manage to avoid its attack. Okay, and that means on this third round, you're able to act freely, Jeremy, without any issue. So we have left in the battle one that's essentially already gotten pretty wounded from Selena, and then we have one that's untouched. That's all that's left. So pretty much everyone at this point is kind of in melee distance, so you can kind of act however you want. Who's doing what? So
Selena wants
Eustace,
to
one's
finish
right
off.
on you, so you can attack that one
Yeah.
if you like.
Like ducked
Okay.
under it. I'll
Sure.
bite into
Okay.
it.
Selena, you're on the one that's on you. Jacques, are you picking one of these to go after?
Yeah, Jacques would back Selena up in case this one doesn't go down.
Okay. And then Lou and Duke, where would you two like to pay your attention?
Lou is going to start to try to drag some of the now unconscious from trauma hikers away from the battle.
No roll necessary. I will point out that's not a bad idea whenever someone's in Krenos form, because you never know when frenzy could happen, and that could be bad because he might have to turn on them. So it's not a bad idea to get them away.
It's
So,
all
yeah.
the circus. Don't worry about it.
They are never, if they survive this, they are never going to a circus again for the rest of their lives. They're just going to have the
Nope.
worst trauma ever. Duke, what do you want to do, buddy?
I guess Duke will, I guess now still confused what Lou's even trying to accomplish, but as Lou is, backing the bodies away and trying to move, Duke will just kind of interpose. So in case Jacques does freak out, he will use leadership to command him to,
Okay.
so I'm just gonna kind of hold my action in case something.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's fine.
happens.
All right, go ahead. Everybody who's attacking, go ahead and just roll.
Okay.
I'll say Jacques is going to be the second attack on Selena, so he'll have one less defense against that. So I'm sure that.
I know. Can't lose rage.
Selena
That's
rolled
okay.
4 successes.
Okay. That's enough to do damage to it, not enough to kill it. I'm sure Jacques should have no trouble finishing it off.
Yeah, Jacques got 12 in total, including his 4 damage for his claws. So
Between the two of you, it's definitely pretty even on the final bits. As Selena it does try
Selena
you
holds
did
her own.
90% of its health before Jacques comes in to kill Stale.
In
But no,
Selena's
yeah.
mind, Jacques does all of the damage after it's already on the ground and it's just an overkill kind of thing. And Selena's like, I had it, you know.
So
Jacques just licks her face.
I like to think, like, Selena, you're just like eating away at its torso. You just, and then you look up and you watch as Jacques comes up and just curb stomps the guy's head with his Krynos paw, and the head just collapses entirely right in front of you like a cantaloupe. And then Eustace, how did you do, man?
I took advantage of Duke's blessing there to reroll some things, so I ended up with 10 successes.
Describe your kill, buddy. That's a
basically it was
one-shotter
right
there.
after, like, I finally got my head together, ducked down to let it jump over me, and then at that point it's very much just your predator that just latches on the neck of something and then just shakes it around until it goes into a limp pile, and then just wrenches the neck out from the back, almost basically like Predator style, where there's the skull and the spine just hanging there.
Oh God. And as the dust settles, we look around. Lou, you've dragged the two bodies away. They are mangled. They are definitely not going to be hiking anytime soon. You can see that you can still hear the gibbering of the third up on top of that rock. The bodies of all of those that were attacking have been ripped to shreds around you. You don't see any others, though. It does seem like you've managed to take care of all of them. Each one of them had kind of the same effect. Stuff was kind of protruding from them and something going on with their eyes and their mouth and such. What do you guys want to do in the aftermath here?
Selena, Eustace, this is more your field. There's also the one on the rock.
I like how she's like holding them up, like she's like caught fish or something.
This is as far as I know how to do. If it's dead, I can help, but they're not dead.
Jacques drops out of Krynos and into lupus form, drops down to one rage, and he's sniffing at these bodies. Once again, he's trying to figure out if these people were in the diner.
Jacques, it's unmistakable at this point. Between the first one you saw and now these, you look at their clothing, you smell them, the stench is clear. The group of them together, absolutely. Like you're extremely confident that these are the diner attendees. Yeah. I mean, I would even say one of them probably even has a chef's uniform on, kind of like one of those jackets and an apron or something like that.
Oh.
Was the Calypso Circle's sister worked at the
Tara,
diner, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I will say this: you don't see Tara, amongst these though.
Duke will go towards the one up top and try to coerce them to come down and calmly, maybe try to come from an angle where all the freaking wolves aren't looking at, like from a.
I'll hand you a flask. This is the good stuff. Give him a swig of that. It'll help him.
Okay, so if you climb up, Duke, with the flask in hand, definitely some minor wounds, abrasions, but you don't see anything too alarming. But they are knees to chest, rocking back and forth, just kind of shaking their heads. No. You reach out and you kind of spoon feed a little bit of the booze into their mouth. And they kind of drink it and kind of spittles down their chin, but they are just like in this kind of catatonic state at this point.
All right, Duke will pick them up, fireman carry style, and come down slowly.
I thought you were going to say, and fire them off the side. It's like,
and alley-oop.
Catch. Oh,
everything's okay now. But you've seen too much.
This is the Men in Black in our world, okay?
You carry them down. No broken bones, just some lacerations here and there. Nothing too alarming. The other two are completely subdued, and they have suffered very badly broken legs. What's the plan?
So what is our count at this point so is it just
about
is
6?
It 2 plus? Okay.
Talking about restaurant goers, 6.
Yeah.
There was the one that you can pretty much conclude now that was in the small spring, and now there's these 5. The hikers, I mean, like, it's possible hikers could have been in the diner. You never know. Some could have been in the diner in hiking gear, but they literally have hiking gear on. So
Right.
Mhm.
And did we have kind of a number that we thought were
about 20, give or
Okay.
take. Yeah. Between employees and restaurant cars.
Selena would kind of look to the ground and kind of look to the northeast and just kind of look at everybody and we haven't found everyone yet.
What are we gonna do with the hikers? You just want to leave them here?
I think that maybe we at least need to move them away from the bodies so as they don't come back around surrounded by
Wake
blood.
up. They wake up, they roll over, you see the ripped apart body, scream themselves back to sleep.
There might be some hiking trail we can leave them on.
I mean, we have to do something. We're sort of the reason why this happened.
Can we at least fix some of the legs that are bones are sticking out here?
Someone can roll medicine, yeah, to set. You can do that.
No, I can't. Not unless you want me to fail.
Anybody can try.
Yes, I can try that.
Yeah, go ahead. Give it a go. Be fun. Are you? I assume.
Wait
I
a
assume
minute.
you drop out of wolf form to do this.
Yeah, so I'm back to Hamid, which has no cost to enter.
Yeah. Okay.
So then, you don't automatically lose a rage when you drop out of wolf, though, right? No, okay.
I
If you drop out of Krynos, you automatically go down to 1 rage,
Yeah,
but
I know.
only. But that's it.
Go into Krynos. Okay, so this would be intelligence medicine then, I would assume, because I'm using
Sure.
knowledge that I have plus
Yeah,
my
that's fine.
medicine. Okay,
Sounds good to me.
5 dice. Son of a.
You
the
can
song still going?
reroll.
The scene's still going. You guys are still in the same location. Once you leave this location, we'll say the song probably wears off. But for now, you can still do the reroll.
So do we treat whatchamacallits like crits in the sense where like if you roll a brutal success because you roll like not a rerollable kind of a thing?
I don't think you can reroll rage dice, so
No.
it's not rerollable at all.
Okie doke. Well, I rolled the 2 2s on my rage
Ooh.
dice, so
Or
I
their
can-
legs right off.
I got
a brutal medicine.
I got 2 successes.
Arterial
Outside of
bleeds.
But
Be
this
stronger,
is the
stupid.
downside.
Say maybe there's a little bit extra, like there's a residue of strength from your wolf form that's still that hasn't quite faded. As you go to set the
Trying to
bone,
set.
you just break it the opposite direction now,
Oh my god.
and it's just this horrible splintering. That if they weren't already, I'm gonna say they pop up for a second, scream in pain, and then fall back down. Unconscious from the pain.
Okay, we might need to bring these to the actual road and call an ambulance at this point.
Yes, we need to do something. This is ridiculous.
I like
You
to think
guys are
Jacques
out of
turns-
control.
Jacques turns into lupus form and just starts to like do the dog digging thing. Like, oh,
He's like, we're fine.
dead.
I
They're
can
not
take care of this.
Uh,
Jacques comes over. He's just laughing at some of the blood coming out of the leg. It's just growling.
oh.
Humans are a virus anyway.
So
Lou, maybe
I'm
you
not a
and
good medical person.
I think
But
it's
the-
a little
just
late for that. I think we should
take them
yes,
back
Yes.
take
somewhere they'll
them.
be found.
okay.
yeah.
I should learn that I should wait a little bit after transitioning to try medicine.
Yes, probably.
That's bad. That's
Okay.
bad.
Let's put the body of the living bodies onto some of the wolves that can carry them easier.
Hey, for what it's
Okay.
worth, one mistake doesn't define the whole of you. You know that 9 times out of 10 you do just fine.
Thank you. That is much appreciated. But
Yes.
she's
Good
like, did you
effort.
see how the bone was going that way? And then
I'd
it went
really
that way?
try not
I'm
to.
trying not
I'm
to look at it.
pretty sure they can't walk ever again.
Jacques
Oh.
is just yipping in mirth.
So we'll say you start to carry them away. Are you looking to get them all the way back to a road? Or are you looking to find
Let's get them to a road, and I will call an ambulance with the location.
Okay. Yeah, Duke is gonna try, at least with the one he has, to take them to like an actual place, like a gas station or something, or like he's not gonna just put them on the side of the road and let them bleed out like those other two.
So you know that if you just kind of shoot back west, it's probably at this point if you go and kind of go full out, you can get there maybe within an hour or so, because you all are pretty deep into the desert at this point. But if you go there at full speed in one of your wolf forms, then you could probably get there within an hour. And there was that strip of land where the diner is. There's also a gas station, Burger King, and a few other basic shops there right off the road. So you could certainly do that. That's not
go
something
back to the Burger King.
We'll leave them at the doors of Burger King. Yes.
like a dog kills something and delivers it just as a prize. It's a gift.
Not dead.
All right.
Have your way, Duke. That's a bad joke. I'm sorry.
All right.
I agree with you.
Okay. Did everybody go and do this, or did some people split off and do something else?
We'll definitely help with that.
Yeah, I mean, Jacques would continually circle around the pack as they're moving these three people to make sure that nothing sneaks up on us.
Selena's guilt will keep her away from the bodies for this transport, and so she'll just be kind of, maybe kind of shadow sense a bit, just trying to keep an eye out for kind of supernatural.
I would say that you're all able, no rolls necessary. You can definitely sense that the area is still in a terrible state. And one of the things you notice as you emerge back from the desert to this small strip of stores, it's not like a heavily populated area. It's just a handful of stores off the side of a highway. You can tell immediately that it was so much darker in the desert, which is usually you see more stars, the moon's more visible. And again, there's that feeling of like underneath the desert, almost feels like you're wearing sunglasses as you look up. But as you come back, usually when you're near lights and things like that, there's like that kind of light pollution and stuff. There's not a ton here, but there's enough that you do feel like overhead is a little bit brighter, and it kind of gradually becomes so as you get closer. But we'll say you find a somewhere to drop them, gas station where someone will see them, or the Burger King. And we'll say you have left their bodies, and they have maintained their catatonic states or their unconscious states so as not to give you clearly away.
Thank goodness.
What would you like to do now?
Back to the northeast search. Go back, find the scent, keep moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got to be able to save someone at some point.
We tried.
Failed
And not
so
Jacques,
far.
Jacques growls out. The only thing he cares about saving is the Green Mother. He's like, humans are a plague on the land anyway. We should have been calling them to begin with.
Duke kind of gives him a look.
They ain't perfect, but there's a reason that the mother tied our essences to them. There's got to be a balance to it.
Good point,
Selena, do you happen to have any abilities to call spirits? When I call my spiders, they look a little sick and not well. Are yours, maybe you can see more in the umbras than I can?
Are you referring to? Hold on, let me
Look at my poor
pulls out her
little sick
notebook.
baby spider.
What's the name of that right again? Oh, goodness.
Shadow Passage.
That takes you into the Umbra.
Okay.
So that's
that's what I've got.
Kind of thing.
Okay. Well, my poor little sick spider. Can you? And she holds up like nothing in her hands to anybody else.
There really is. You don't say anything at all.
You saw what I just did to those legs over there. You really want me?
No, it's okay. I'll take care of him.
Are you
Many more
like,
legs to break on a spider.
Did you like take drugs somewhere from this whole like running around? I don't know what's happening, Lou. We went from circus animals to dragging bodies to imaginary spiders. Okay, like
Oh god.
I'm just trying to look out for the well-being of the pack, and
You saw the spiders when you entered Umbra.
Oh god.
Yeah, that one time
I can see them normally.
he just starts walking off.
Okay.
We'll assume that you all take the time, head back out. We don't have
Yep.
to play the tracking or anything again. You know where to go. But time has passed. But the sky does not get any lighter. You are deep into the AM at this point. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning or so, something like that. So it's very, very late. You kind of continue on the same sort of northeasterly path as best you can, and I'll assume sort of the same sort of people tracking here and there. And I'll say this, that there's a Jacques, you might pick up on this because of what it is. You smell not just the Weaver and her machines, but you smell human gasoline, like you can fuel, and it just sort of infests your nose a bit as the scent becomes overwhelming. It almost smells like you are, in the city in some ways, like you have that kind of reeking of modernized equipment. And then we'll say, Eustace, you probably see something then, as you'll see on a silhouette of what very clearly looks like a helicopter landed on a relatively sort of flat expanse of land. You also notice that there is a literal lit kind of torch, like an actual fire burning, a couple of those, almost like tiki torches, that kind of set up and around it that you can see at a distance. And Eustace, again, I'm just giving you all this because we don't need a roll for awareness. You would see this. There do appear to be 2 people moving about, as if they're not sure if they're working on the helicopter exactly or whatever it might be, but you can see it at a distance.
Y'all make that out over there? That is strange.
Can't quite see it yet.
And I'll say once he starts pointing it out, the glowing light from the torch, you can kind of see the contours now. You let your eyes adjust. And at a distance from a ridge away or so, it's a helicopter. It's landed. 2 people near it. Their scents wafting. Get that sort of mechanical stench wafts up. It's very foreign in an otherwise kind of wilderness area. And although the taint of this infection has been clouding some of your senses, like you've not quite had such a pungent like hit to your face of this familiarity. It's the way like your El Camino smells kind of deal.
Selena would turn to Lou. Your phone, can you see if there's any markings on the helicopter? You can like zoom in with that, right?
You open it up once more, and the light just starts to flicker. The screen starts to flicker in your face. That kind of snowy, almost like TV interference once more just kind of covers. I'll say that if you're just sort of zooming in with the camera, though, and you're not trying to really do anything beyond that, you are able probably to see through it.
Oh, wait, I have a better idea, Selena. I pull up my camera with a telescopic lens, which I took her from.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's even better. Is it a digital camera?
I was thinking about that because it might be. Do I have an old SR, or do I have like a new model? 50-50.
I feel like Lou
Whatever you
is up
decide
on
now
tech.
is what it's
Okay.
going to be.
50-50. If I roll evens, it's old school. If I roll odds, it is new. I rolled a 10 evens.
Old school.
I didn't even.
Old school.
So it's old school. Okay.
Old school.
You look through it. Camera does appear to be functioning fine if you wanted to actually use it. You do see there is a logo on the side. It is it's sort of like a shield, like an old-fashioned like medieval shield, and you see in the center of it there is an LC.
Click, click. I take the picture of this. We can look at it later, and I'll sort of move out of the way so people, I guess, no, if it's an old school camera, it does not have a display. It looks like it's got a little shield with a logo on it. Here, if you look through this, Selena, you can see.
And the other thing is when you look through it, it's not like, this isn't just like a sky, a sky chopper for like the morning traffic kind of helicopter. It's like a Blackhawk.
This is very out of place here.
And I'm not just metagaming here. We did get the name of this in this campaign, right? We have.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is I would say you guys could probably know it. A private security kind of mercenary outfit, lockroom controlled. They do a variety of things. They're basically a private army.
Yeah, and we'd already seen a uniform from that previously. So,
And that uniform was
Indeed.
a werewolf.
No, it was not a werewolf.
No. Okay. I can go talk to them if you guys want to sneak around.
Jacques, still in lupus form, would just be kind of trying to slink up, sneak in, using the shadows.
All right. Anybody who's stealthing up, go ahead and roll a stealth that will be contested.
Duke,
by
I will
their
go with you
awareness.
as human.
Great.
I'm helpful.
Duke's excited for this.
We won't talk about the circus.
I'll switch over to the labro. That one's better for stealth.
And Duke wants to approach from like an angle that maybe if we see like some house in the distance or something, like there would be coming from the house towards the cup, if that makes sense. Even if it's far, but something that you could reference to.
I mean, you can point to, I would say, hiking trails is probably the realistic thing that you're going to point at. You guys are really far out into the middle of nowhere right now, but there's potential hiking trails, so we can say that. Like, that would probably be the most viable.
Sure.
How did... so who is stealthing? Eustace, you're stealthing? Okay, with a 5 on your
Jacques.
stealth test. Jacques, stealthing...
Just got a 3. Only 3 successes.
Okay. Lou, you said you're going in human form. Are you just hands up, kind of moving in, or are you just kind of strolling up, whatever?
Strolling up like a hiker.
All right. Duke as well, same deal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, and then Selena, what are you doing?
Oh, probably ruining stealth, because that's what I do. So stealth, what does stealth get paired with?
Dex would probably make sense.
I'm going to be ruining this.
You don't have to stealth up. You can hang back. You can walk up with Lou and Duke. It's not required.
I was going to just hang back, is what I was just going to do, because I'm not particularly good at stealth.
Here, Selena, take my camera and you can watch from far very closely.
Okay.
All right. So let me
Please don't break
check
it.
there.
No guarantees.
Please don't break
So Lou and Duke, you get not too far away from the the chopper before they notice you. Eustace and Jacques, you're both in forms. You're not in human forms. You're not in Hamid. You're both in different forms. You are stealthing, and as far as you can tell, you haven't been detected. And you can stick to the shadows. There's various larger rocks here and there that you can kind of hide behind, that kind of stuff. Close enough to hear, close enough to sort of rush and pounce if something happens. And Selena, you're at a distance. You're looking through the scope of Lou's camera, and you can kind of keep track of all of it. Duke and Lou, you get up, and they notice you pretty quickly, and like you can see they both scramble to the ground, and they kind of pull up weapons. And so they got these guns that they're kind of pointing at you. It looks like they had tools and such, but they kind of quickly see they're not actively pointing them in your direction, but they did rush to get them. And you hear a woman's voice kind of call out, just like, all right, hold on right there.
Yep.
Yes.
We're just wait. Oh, this is kind of awkward. And Duke when they got closer, he had his arm around Lou, and he'll kind of take it off.
Ooh. Okay. And how old is Lou? Lou's old too, right? Like, I'm sorry.
Lou is in the 30s.
Okay.
Duke is in the 50s or 60s.
Ooh.
He's like mid-50s, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Which doesn't necessarily mean he looks really super old.
Yeah,
Oh,
Duke
no.
also is beautiful, so...
Yeah. Okay.
How many people took the beautiful trait?
This isn't a Burger
Well, Aaron's
King
is one up above
manager,
beautiful.
so let's not go crazy. All right, so hold on. I don't think y'all are supposed to be out here.
Well, I mean, we were
It's free land.
Yeah, and we were just having a little,
Midnight
kind of
picnic.
I wink at, like a little late night.
You hear the guy who's standing a few feet away from her just start to chuckle. It's like, but she serious, like no smile, doesn't crack, doesn't phase her.
Yeah,
So why are you coming up here now?
Well, no, we were coming from the hike, and then we saw this, and I mean, how many times do you see a helicopter?
Yes, very exciting. Can you do you do rides?
Is this like a tour thing?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not a tour thing.
Can we take this to
And-
Sedona?
You're not there. No, it's not a tour thing. No,
Oh,
we're not going to give you a ride.
Oh, it's
I mean, I thought I would ask, we just had such a great
Yeah, it was
time that it would be like the
magical night.
real, like pinnacle, just to like have a helicopter ride over the desert, see all the plateaus and mountains. That'd be so cool. He kind of puts his
Guys
arm
are-
back around over Lou.
You guys are really far out here.
Yes.
You kind of want to have peace and quiet whenever you're getting the deed done.
Hotel room will get that done.
Well, yes, but we, as you just said, we are very far out. We are a little turned around from our campsite, so
Yeah, I was trying to use the GPS on our phones, but I don't know. It's like keeps making some sort of noise, and we kind of got a little lost.
yeah, everything is dead.
You see the two of them kind of exchange a look. And they kind of look back at you and they're like, yeah, there's a lot of that going around.
Does your stuff work?
They kind of look at each other again and just a little, nothing that takes a signal.
Is that why your helicopter's not moving?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. What is that? What could cause that?
Interference.
Oh,
You ask a lot of questions for a,
I mean,
But you have helicopters. That's so exciting.
yeah.
Where I'm from, we don't see them at all. When they come to America, it's very like everywhere. So amazing.
your
I
accent
just grow
sounds-
oranges.
She kind of looks at the guy. She like, as Lou starts talking, like where she's from, come to America. You see, like, she starts to squint. She's like, you have a French accent. They got helicopters in France,
Well, yes, but they are more big here and they are more popular to fly around. You don't do this very much. We do like the air balloons are for tourists, so you do that more often.
Okay. Well, here, we can go ahead and give you a hand. You see how you're looking at me right now? Go ahead and just turn completely around and look the other way and just start walking in that direction. And keep going in that direction until you hear a car honk at you because you reached a street.
What the
Got me?
cardinal direction?
That's west.
Okay.
When we like are having this conversation, when we smell, do we smell anything infected? Do we smell just human? Do we smell?
You're not getting anything off of them the way that you got off those diner patrons, nothing like that. I mean, you could tell they're a little tense. They're suspicious of you. Like that's clear as day. You don't even need to be a werewolf to know that. But you're not getting anything like that. No.
Well, maybe, dear, we should just head back the other way for now. These people seem like not typical Americans. They are unfriendly American.
Oh, they're not woke.
Yeah, they're a little like not like you.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm a little older, but I've definitely got in touch with the lingo, if you know what I mean.
Yes, you're very in touch. Yes.
Yeah.
The guy is like
just like
chuckling.
tonight, very
Couple feet away, the guy is just constantly chuckling at how ridiculous the two of you sound, but she is just not. Her face is just like a stone tablet. It's just it won't even crack a smile.
Yeah, and then as like we're kind of like casually having this conversation, Duke will be looking at Lou, and then he'll turn and he's going to use stare down at the girl.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead and give it a roll. Can you affect more than one person?
No, so I'm going to choose her because the other guy's laughing and being all.
Okay, and
I'm assuming the other two wolves are doing something while we're,
well, we'll find out in a second.
We'll find out. That's what Duke assumes.
Selena's just like looking through the camera, and suddenly she just sees like Duke like putting his arm around Lou,
Yeah.
and Selena's just like, I have no
When
idea
did this
what's
happen?
going on.
All right, let me make my roll. If I can remember my roll. Okay.
Yeah, I was looking that back up. Do they is there resistance for
Yeah,
that?
it's composure. I
Okay.
just looked at it.
Yeah,
Resolve.
Gotcha. That's what all I need to know is that they had one.
Can I activate Gremlins when he turns and does the stare down?
Do you want to activate Gremlins?
I will wait for results.
Okay, I'm gonna spend a willpower to reroll one.
Okay, sounds good.
I got plenty to use.
Just give me your total and whether
Okay.
it's a crit or not.
Yeah, and then let me do. Is it a rage check? Yeah. Okay. The total is 4.
Okay. That is enough to affect her as you just kind of see a slight sag in her arms or shoulders just as it kind of comes down and like her face, even though it was sort of, I wouldn't say it was impassive. It was like, you can tell it was sort of like this aggressive, like, but her face kind of relaxes and it just becomes this sort of plain look. And you can tell that it's affected it.
And then it's like a light switch. He'll just turn to the other guy and be like, "Hey, so what's your name?"
Roll a. You're gonna have to roll a test for this one, actually.
Sure.
Charisma.
Okay.
Um,
Or I can do manipulation. Whatever you want.
if you're, it's just pure charisma. This is just charisma
Okay.
right now. This is just
And
to see if-
persuasion.
yeah, I'll take persuasion. That's fine.
Okay.
Etiquette's okay too, I suppose. It's a lolly. I rolled a lolly this time. I'm very excited.
Oh yeah, it's gonna do some re-rolling. Oh, let me check. Yeah, it's okay.
Do you have rage?
I only have
going at the
one.
moment?
So,
Oh, okay.
Luckily, I mean, I can't. Yeah, I
Luckily.
can't do anything with that. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna re-roll 3. So I have 2 successes. Oh, only 2.
Wow.
Okay. And he's been kind of chuckling, and when you turn and like ask him that, his chuckle kind of dies down a little bit, and he's like, "Nah, old timer, I don't think so. Why don't you take your lady friend? Just do what my friend here says, and just let's just head on back over the bridge there."
All right, you take your lady friend.
No, it's not like that.
Oh, okay. I thought I was trying to give you like a layup, like maybe get your foot in the door.
No, I don't think so. That's
No.
that's a dog barking up the wrong tree. He kind of looks over towards her as if he's about to make a joke, and she's just kind of like arms kind of slouched. And as he looks over and he looks at her and he's like, Martinez? And she's just kind of like standing there a little bit, not really behaving the way that he's probably expecting. And she's kind of just gone quiet and she's just kind of staring around. So you can tell that he and you all, as wolves, you can sense like anxiety just skyrocketed with him now. Whereas he was laughing and now it's serious. So I'm going to give everyone a chance to do something. So Eustace and Jacques, you all have been hiding in the shadows. Do you do anything at this point? You've heard all of this. This is no problem. You could have heard this conversation.
And you would have seen Duke's eyes, so you would have
Yeah.
noticed something if you can see his eyes.
I assume this guy whose alertness is going up, he is armed. You mentioned them grabbing.
Yeah, they both
weapons.
have. They both have. They both have guns. You're not pointing them currently at Duke or Lou, but you can tell he is a little concerned suddenly with how and why Martinez is not responding.
My knee-jerk response is donkey punch to the back of the head.
Okay. All right. So you're gonna charge in and punch him.
I get the feeling like these people, I suspect they have some knowledge, maybe not full knowledge, but enough that this guy will probably respond poorly now that he's noticed his friend is.
Okay.
I don't want to kill him. I just want to.
You just want to
brawl
donkey punch. Okay.
I just want to donkey punch somebody. Is that so weird?
It's a weird.
That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
I think when Jacques, when he sees Eustace make a break for it, Jacques would also charge in as he's in lupus form, and he would try to bite the hand of the man, his weapon hand, so he drops his weapon.
Okay, gotcha. And then Lou and Duke, you're both here. What are you doing now? You guys are probably. I would say you could probably sense Eustace and Jacques are getting ready, getting antsy. So
Duke just wants to distract the guy. He's going to keep small talking him. So his eyes are looking at him. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What about you, Lou?
I will dispatch gremlins, which is page 149, has a list of the difficulties for device complexity, which means I won't be able to affect firearms because I need it's a difficulty of 5, and the best I can do is 4, but
even with crits?
Oh, no, you're right. Okay. If I have crits, yes, then I could get up there. But I would like to try. And I need a rage check, which I'll do after, but...
Got a rage check and then a charisma plus glory roll, and you need 5 successes.
For firearms, but anything within 5 meters is going to have trouble, depending on what it is.
Gotcha. It looks like you got electrical or combustion engines...
Yeah, the helicopter is pretty high up there too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Is that song still going, Duke?
No, it's too late now. It's been a couple hours because you guys went and dropped the people off and came back.
You can still reroll 3
this whole
with
time.
You can reroll 3 on your own.
True. All right. Yes, I will. I've got 1 success. If I can, okay, I'll re-roll with willpower. Okay, that's 3 8s. Brilliant. So that is 4 with the 6 that I had before.
Okay, you won't have enough to affect the gun, but what I will say is that they do have like various radios and stuff on them, and
that is what I was worried about.
Are acting very erratically. And they have been since you tried to use them outside the Black Canyon Diner. Doesn't mean it doesn't help you in this situation, as that you can hear just suddenly blasting out of that same like radio that he's got kind of on his shoulder. He's got one of them kind of shoulder radios here or there. And it's not so much the sort of the digital screen, but you just suddenly hear this like really loud modem sound just suddenly start. And he's like freaking out as he kind of turns towards Martinez. And he's like, what the? He's kind of grabbing it here and there. And at this point, coming out of the darkness, here comes a freaking wolf. And here comes, what are you in, Eustace?
What's the teen wolf form again?
Glabro.
I did that one so I could stealth better.
Okay, the two of you come charging in. We can go in whatever order you guys want. So I'm going to say that Blue is going to give you guys it's going to reduce his defense, basically. So...
Nice.
Eustace.
Okay.
Well, just looking to punch him.
Okay. And then let me roll my donkey.
His stats again. That is a gift in Werewolf the Apocalypse version 5. Page 2.
The infamous donkey punch.
1, 2, 3.
It is a glory
6,
plus
7,
brawl roll.
8. I got 8 successes. This jumping Superman punch right into the back of his head.
So he was already distracted from Lou's gremlins causing this annoyingly loud modem sound to erupt from his otherwise non-modem radio, which he is freaking out about now. And so that means he doesn't even see you as you come running up, and you just Glasgow form punch him, and he goes falling back against the helicopter, and you're punching him. So you're intentionally not trying to do.
I don't want to kill him.
Yeah, so it's just going to be superficial. It's just going to be superficial damage. So it's how many successes? Say it again. 8.
8.
Okay, well he's got a defensive 2, so that's still going to effectively cause some aggravated damage, but it won't kill him. So he's got. So it's filled up. Okay, so you come up and you just clock him super hard to the point where you hear his jaw, and you're pretty sure you might have broke his jaw as he smashes against. Because he's gonna because of that end up taking 1 point of aggravated with how hard you hit him, and the rest of it is filled up with superficial. Jacques, you come charging in. He is the guy is a little bit out of it now as the modem's going crazy. His jaw's broken. He's trying to shake it off. You can see his hand is coming up with the gun. You're not sure if he's fully locked on to Eustace just yet. You can go ahead and roll your attack.
Not as tough as I used to be, just in lupus form. But we'll see. 9, 7.
I only
10,
have 19. I'm probably only going to do 40 damage.
6.
Right.
Actually, I did an okay roll, but not great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
Okay. Well, because he's now got distracted by Lou, punched by Eustace. His defense is down to 1. You do 6. Superficial, so that's 5.
I'm basically just trying to maul his hand so he drops his weapon.
You're going to literally just bite his hand off, clean right off. And
That's
you can
fair.
you just rip it. The gun goes falling to the ground. Blood begins spouting out from his wrist as his hand is just kind of limply hanging, and there's this huge gash. Like he might not be able to save his hand, and he falls. Kind of in this sort of state of shock as that actually fills up. I know you guys were trying to do superficial, but you guys did so much superficial damage that actually is enough to fill up his full bar.
Jacques whines a little bit and then looks back at Selena like, "I'm so sorry."
I mean, he was just too tough for his own good. He should have just passed out when I punched him. Dumbass.
Now there is still another person here. She does kind of like how long does that stare down last for?
A scene.
Duke? So she hasn't flinched. She hasn't moved. She's just kind of still staring at Duke at this point. Her eyes haven't even flickered over towards what's happened. Just kind of in this mesmerized state, like a cobra. It's just sort of like there to the song. What do you guys want to do? You don't have to use any order. Just tell me what it is you want to do.
Who wants to bet some private military folks like this have zip ties or some sort of restraints on them?
Absolutely.
At that point,
Easy.
let's just maybe at least we don't have to completely break her and just zip tie her hands and feet.
Yeah, Duke will just calmly walk towards her and just staring into her eyes and just grab the gun and take it from her, and then kind of almost command her just sit, and we'll just kind of bind her, not trying to be aggressive, but just let her sit there and enjoy her peace for right now.
So you guys, you're not wrong. Zip ties, no problem. All that kind of stuff. You can bind their hand in the case of the guy. And I would say even, Selena, if you come down, it's not as crazy an injury as the others. You can certainly kind of wrap it in such a way. He's probably never going to have the full use of his hand anymore as it's nearly been bitten off. But
or Selena just, somehow rips his skin up his arm because, she's so good at doing medicine checks.
Just pulls it off. It's just better to rip it like a Band-Aid. Okay, so.
I don't think I ever want you to do medicine on me.
She's your healer. So what I'll say this as we kind of close down, you have subdued these two. You take a look at the helicopter. The helicopter is certainly not functioning. None of it doesn't seem to be working. Mechanically, it's not working. Radio signals aren't working. You kind of mess around with the radio, and you're getting that same kind of signal. You can see that there's room in here for probably about, I think you can kind of fit, there's probably, we'll just put it this way, sense of maybe about 12 different people. It's a fairly large helicopter.
That is accurate. In a Blackhawk, you can fit 12, 6 on either side, a pilot and a co-pilot.
Yep, exactly. I did actually look this up too, just to make sure this was okay. And then it's a Firehawk or a Sikorsky S-70 helicopter is apparently the commercial variant of a Blackhawk. Yep. So I did my research.
I spent a lot of time jumping out of Blackhawks. Good times.
Nice. Well, it's not as far a drop if you jump out of this one because it's on the ground. You can tell it came down. It's okay. It's in decent condition, but it's not in the most ideal location, as it is kind of a rocky terrain here and there. So you're thinking, you would probably conclude that it sort of prematurely landed. And I'll say, as you're going through stuff, you can tell that there was likely a team in here. These two might just be pilot technicians, something like that. And like whatever team might have been back here has left, enough that you can find tracks here and there. One of the things you do notice as you look through some of the gear and some of the stuff that's been left behind is that there are physical, tangible maps that have been left behind, or at least on the person of these two. And you kind of start looking at them and they look familiar. Like you kind of recognize the topography, the terrain, ridge lines here and there, valleys. Like you can see like where this, like this, there's certain places. White Dyke Canyon is sort of a big name of a canyon nearby. And you can kind of see all that pop up. But what is interesting is you can tell that there is a spot marked on the map. And you can see that someone has written, like handwritten on it, listening station. And as you kind of look at, you kind of orient yourself with the map, you get the sense, you look at the ground, you see the kind of the boots as it looks like the team has come out, kind of do a little triangulation, and you think kind of to the northeast from here, not too far away, if you've read the map correctly. Apparently there's some kind of listening station that's on this map, and whatever team exited out of this helicopter has moved off in that direction. And we'll go ahead and stop there. We'll pick up on that next time, and yeah, probably conclude this arc, I would say, as well. All right, good deal.
That's where the circus is. So we gotta follow the
That's where the
treasure map
circle's
to the
down.
circus.
We just got to bring the bodies all the way there.
Oh my God. Those poor people. Those poor people are going to have the worst nightmares for the rest of their lives about.
But see, that's Jacques' whole goal, is to terrify humanity enough that they stay the hell away from all of the natural places.
And this is why there's the rest of a pack to try to help steer Jacques from time to time.
So
those crazy red talons.
Let's do the questions really fast so people can hear them. So XP questions, and then we'll plug and we'll get out. So everyone gets an XP point for participation. So everyone takes one. And the next thing is perform something remarkable during the session. The whole table's appreciation of the character doing or saying a certain thing. So it's not necessarily your abilities, because there's something else for that. It's just something that you came up with doing. So does anyone
clearly Lou?
Oh God, yeah, Lou for sure.
The circus thing.
Okay.
It was all I could think of really quickly. That would have weird animals.
Okay. Anybody else?
I really enjoyed Duke's cover story.
The romance.
I do too.
Oh yeah,
that
was perfect. That was perfect.
That was fantastic. Yeah. I didn't even want to make a roll because I'm like, this is too strangely hilarious and plausible in some ways. Okay.
Lou, you might find some extra photos on your camera.
Oh no!
Duke's arm around Lou and you.
I will burn them all.
Let's see. Anybody else for something remarkable? Are we good with those two? Okay. Now, skill, gift, or trait in a clever or critical way. Want to make a case for
The
anybody?
medicine check for Celine.
It was
A
critical.
pity XP.
I don't know.
Listen, I would say she should take that for the previous one because it was pretty remarkable.
It was
how
remarkable.
she made compound fractures just horribly worse. Let's see.
I like.
Very rare
How about
donkey punch talent?
Punch that's very rare too, extremely rare. Jacques playing into his red Talon desire to terrify and drive humanity off. I mean that really is a focus of his. I purposefully did that to scare those human beings into getting the hell away from the desert.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it worked.
Okay, sounds good.
Or the circus.
Circus. All right. And then it's tell me something important your character learned this session.
That the diners are carriers of this Weaver weird plague.
That'll do.
And that they're apparently maybe potentially moving towards this listening station, or this listening station may have something to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that sounds
listen
good.
into the listening station.
And Lou likes old men.
Who likes old men?
Are you like George Clooney, but like
I mean, we also found out about the listening
George
station.
Clooney?
Yep.
Yeah, I get George Clooney. That's a pretty good
Okay.
comparison.
And that Lock from Control is involved with this somehow, or looking
Lock
into
from
it at
Control.
least.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, those bastards.
So all of you get an XP for that. And then the last one is whether or not we've concluded an arc, which we haven't, and that's when you get somewhere between 2 and 3. So we should be able to conclude it next time around. I don't see why we wouldn't be able to, unless you all, I don't know, leave. But we'll figure it out. Why don't we do some plugs and we'll get on out of here. So Jeremy, you've got a Patreon you want to tell us about. Go ahead and tell us.
Sure, Aaron Reese on Patreon. If you get comics, tokens, maps, fun stuff, check it out.
Perfect. Let's see. Aaron, what's going on over on Garblag, man?
So Garblag back next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch Millie back in the GM seat running her longstanding Coriolis campaign. The same time on Wednesday, you'll find me in the GM seat as the narrator for Marvel Multiverse, as our group of characters that we created this week will be 1943, trying to find a missing Union Jack and stopping the time traveler Trevor Fitzroy, who's trying to help the Axis powers. And then on Thursday, Mr. Garblag himself, Pete, will be continuing to run his playthrough of The Red Hand of Doom using his own Heroic Deeds game. So definitely check that out. The first session was today, and it was fantastic.
Awesome. As for us here, tomorrow night is our next game, which Aaron, you're also running. If you want to just tell us what that is.
So tomorrow night here, same time as this one, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be diving into Cubicle 7's Warhammer 40K game, Wrath and Glory. So we're going to be using some character creations. We're going to deal with our framework, get our archetypes together, and then we're going to dive into the litany of lost groups of adventures. And I'll throw a couple extras in there because I definitely want to see everybody ascend to tier 3 by the time the campaign is done.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. Saturday, after that, we're back to Saturday. We took a couple weeks off, but we are back we're going to do a short little Mothership run before we start our next big campaign. So come back on Saturday for some Mothership. I'm going to pull some stuff out of the newish Hull Breach supplement that came out not too long ago off Kickstarter. Then on Monday, Fragged Empire. You can see top row in that, Jeremy and Melissa and myself. Very excited to get back to that. And Jeremy is going to be found, I think, finally. He hasn't actually got to play since our session 0, so it's going to be fun.
Great.
Yeah, man. And then Tuesday night, you can see some Marvel multiverse role-playing game here, as we're going to be doing some X-Men, Kipser, Aaron, Melissa, and myself. Yeah. But that's what we got going on. Check out the YouTube page if you haven't already checked that out. Follow here, subscribe there, whatever the proper terminology is. But thanks for everyone who hung out tonight. Thanks for that hype train earlier on. Thank you to 20 Size Every Story. Thank you for the raid earlier tonight. And we're going to go ahead and pay that forward. We're going to raid Insomnia Night RPG because they do weird stuff whenever you raid. There's weird. Just watch the screen. Something weird's going to happen. Happens every time. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.